Pablo Escobar rose to fame as a Colombian politician, a philanthropist, a race car driver, and the leader of the notorious Medellin cartel. His cartel was so notorious that it was estimated to be the supplier of 80% of the entire world's cocaine. Of course, drugs being such a lucrative business, Pablo Escobar never lacked in terms of funds, and at the height of his era, he was making an average of $70 million every single day. Escobar's wealth was so large that he is considered the wealthiest criminal to have ever lived, and he had to his name a net worth of well over $30 billion at the time of his death. Escobar might have been a notorious criminal, but he did earn his country's love and respect due to his generosity. Before his death, the Medellin cartel leader amassed an impressive fleet of cars, and in this video, we will be taking a look at just some of the interesting cars that he had. 1964 Porsche 356. Today, what was once Pablo Escobar's most beloved automobile now lies as a rusty relic at the Hacienda Museum. The 1964 Porsche 356 was a red beauty to behold before it was destroyed by the Cali cartel bombing. The German beauty was rumored to be Pablo's most beloved car, and it didn't take long for the drug lord to warm up to the car despite some initial engine complaints. At the Hacienda Nápoles, the rusty 356 lies beside a plaque proclaiming, Escobar's luxury car collection was a symbol of ostentation and his leadership in the underworld. It was the first to suffer the consequences of multiple years. It was the first to suffer the consequences of multiple wars. Only these scraps remain. Toyota Land Cruiser. Toyota vehicles seem to hold a particular fondness in the hearts of criminals, and Pablo Escobar was no exception to the rule. Escobar's fleet of cars was incomplete without his beloved FJs, which were the perfect choice of automobile for navigating the rough terrains his cartel often had to follow in their drug smuggling mission. To get an accurate depiction of how these vehicles truly function, you can watch Netflix's Narcos, which is a series based on the rise and fall of Escobar's empire. Even from the series, it is obvious that these vehicles are truly super workhorses and can't be afforded by the average man. Escobar's soldiers stuck out every time they rode in their signature Land Cruisers. However, the cartel's signature vehicle turned out to be one of the factors that contributed to their downfall. The DEA put out surveillance on any FJ driving around, and they were able to follow the traffickers' paths. 1972 Mercedes S600 Pullman. This vehicle was truly a picture of opulence from back in the day. There was little more that screamed of wealth and luxury than a stretched Mercedes. During Escobar's days, this Mercedes S600 was the preferred mode of transport for the wealthiest and most powerful people, including heads of state. Well, Escobar considered himself to be something of a head of state in Colombia, so his choice of vehicle was well within reason. Over the years, this vehicle has graced the garages of automotive enthusiasts such as Jeremy Clarkson and Jay Leno. The reputation of this vehicle is so strong that many say it is a worthy competitor to other big-name automobiles such as Bentley and Rolls-Royce. The shell of that vehicle now lies in his estate, Hacienda Nápoles, where it was deposited after the bombing of his home in 1988. 1928 Cadillac V8 Town Sedan. Al Capone famously owned one of these classic beauties, and it's said that Escobar picked up one of his own to pay homage to Capone. One thing I love about looking through people's car collections is that you get a good idea of who they are. If this person likes the glitz and glamour, you would see it reflected in their choice of cars. If they were more on the down low, you would equally see it. For Pablo Escobar, he loved everything to be larger than life. Although there was much speculation that Pablo Escobar did in fact purchase Al Capone's own vehicle, Escobar denied these claims many times and assured that he had acquired a new one. However, to give the vehicle a look more befitting for a crime lord, it is said that Escobar fired several rounds of lead into the side of the vehicle to achieve his desired effect. 1978 Renault 4. This hatchback was designed partly in Colombia, and to date remains one of the common vehicles on the road. The car wasn't designed to be the fastest or the prettiest, but Escobar took a liking to the locally made vehicle and even used one to campaign in the 1979 Renault Cup. That year was Escobar's first foray into racing, and it made quite an impression driving the French-designed hatchback. It was pretty clear to all that Escobar's talents lay in smuggling and distributing cocaine, and not behind the wheel of a vehicle. But Escobar's failure in the race didn't deter him from pursuing his racing hobbies. Soon, of course, speculation started to fly that the drug lord sabotaged his opponent's race and engaged in all kinds of foul play on the tracks. 1978 SIMCA 1000. This rear-engine automobile was created in Italy in collaboration with Fiat. The car was designed with its gas tank in the back, giving the vehicle a 35-36 front-rear weight distribution. Its unique design made the car a very responsive and agile vehicle to meander through twisty and bumpy roads. Escobar famously used one of the race car variants to lose in the Marlboro Cup together with his cousin Gustavo Gaviria. Porsche 935V. Escobar never shied away from flaunting his wealth, and one of his favorite pastimes seemed to be acquiring luxury cars manufactured by the German car company Porsche. Since he had had so much bad luck with the littler French cars he had bought thus far, Pablo Escobar took a chance with this powerful vehicle designed for endurance races. Escobar had much hope in this vehicle, particularly after the 935 came out in top ranks at the 1978 24 Hours of Le Mans. Escobar immediately purchased the same model for himself and soon customized the 3.0-liter turbocharged flat six with his name right across the windshield. Escobar seemed particularly fond of this Porsche for his racing hobbies, and there are even some pictures of Escobar dressed in full racing gear and posing beside this sports car. 1974 Porsche 911 RSR. This automobile is one of the finest in Escobar's collection, and its rarity is such that there are only 14 others of its kind in existence. This car has a lot of history attached to it, as it was the very race car Emerson Fittipaldi used in the inaugural International Race of Champions. The car suffered a puncture to its fuel tank and was kept in reserve for some time until it was eventually sold to Escobar. Escobar, being the man that he is, immediately took it upon himself to customize the vehicle to his taste and added a front splitter and a massive wing. After Escobar's death, the car was eventually shipped back to America, where it was restored to its original specs and sold for $875,000 in 2012. Mercedes 190 SL Roadster. In case you didn't already guess by now, Escobar clearly held a fondness for Mercedes. The Mercedes 190 SL Roadster was in fact the perfect fit for a man with Escobar's personality. The car screamed luxury and met every expectation people who enjoyed the finer things in life would expect. And it was also the perfect vehicle for people who enjoyed driving fast. Today, the car is an incredibly rare find, since less than 26,000 of the model were ever built from 1955 to 1963. Motorcycles. We can hardly talk about Escobar's car collection without at least a mention of his insane bikes and motorcycles. In the Netflix series Narcos, the opening scene shows Escobar riding around on a motorcycle, giving viewers a glimpse of how fond he was of his two-wheeled toys. One of his favorite motorcycles was his Honda CR-125, designed for heavy lifting and meandering through off-road paths. Another of his beloved motorcycles was a 1990 Harley-Davidson. You can only expect that someone who loves automobiles as much as Escobar would own a Harley-Davidson. This classic US muscle bike was so beloved by the drug lord that it is said he owned multiple bikes. He also customized one of the bikes to have an all-gold paint job, and that bike can still be seen on display in the Historical Museum of the National Police in Bogota, Colombia. And that's all we have for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Did you learn something new today? I know I did. There's only so much you can learn from a Netflix adaptation, am I right? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And until next time, stay safe.